he married another wife, Marashi. Marashi arrived on a soft Monday morning, just before the rains. She was slim, quiet, with skin color of a roasted groundnut and a voice as smooth as freshly tapped palm wine. Obina had married her in secret, paying her bride price in the next village away from Nwakego's wrathful eyes. When Marashi stepped into the compound, holding a small bag of clothes and a basin wrapped in nylon, Nwakego's eyes sliced through her like a sharpened machete. "Who are you? And why are you walking like you own this place?" she asked, arms folded beneath her sagging breast. Marashi bent slightly. "Good afternoon, Auntie Nwakaego." Auntie Nwakaego scoffed. "Auntie Kwa? Who is your auntie?" Obina stood behind Marashi, voice trembling. "Nwakaego, she's my second wife." That silence that followed was loud, louder than thunder after lightning. Nwakaego tilted her head slowly, smiling. It wasn't a kind smile. It was the kind of smile a white dog gives before it bites. "Second wife," she echoed. "You brought a second wife into my house." Obina's eyes shifted. "It is our house, and yes, I did." Nwakaego threw her wrapper to the ground and laughed bitterly. "Okay, no problem. Marashi abi, welcome. I hope you can run." Marashi bowed her head, saying nothing. That night, Nwakaego smashed Marashi's plate of food on the floor. "You eat after I eat," she said in a commanding tone. She poured out her water, locked her out of the bedroom, and warned the maids, "If any of you serve her before me, you will leave this compound with one leg." Marashi never raised her voice. She swept the compound, fetched water, cooked food, and sang softly under her breath. But the more she endured, the more Nwakaego anger burned. She hated Marashi's silence. It was louder than insults, more painful than shouts. A year passed. Marashi gave birth to a daughter, Adora, light-skinned and coily hair like Obina's grandmother. Nwakaego also had a daughter, Ginika, but the child was wild and rude, talking back at her mother and throwing tantrums, and always clinging to Marashi. "Mommy Marashi, please help me plait my hair. Mommy Marashi, I want to sleep in your room tonight." Even in the village square, Ginika ran to Marashi first, leaving Nwakaego standing alone. "Are you not my daughter?" Nwakaego shouted one day. Ginika shrugged. "You don't like people. You always like causing problem. I don't like you. You are not my mother." Those words stung worse than a bee. And yet, Marashi would kneel and plead on Ginika's behalf. "Please forgive her. She's only a child." But Nwakaego's bitterness only deepened. The entire compound became a war zone. But Marashi never retaliated. Instead, she would fast, pray, and whisper words of love into the ears of both girls. "I know your mother is hurting," she would say, "but don't be like her. Be kind, be a good girl, and make a difference in this society." One afternoon, something happened that shifted everything. Ginika, Marashi's daughter Adora, and Marashi's son Keneshuku were walking home from school when they took the bush path to pluck some udara fruit. That was the part where the Egungun masquerade roamed. Nobody ever used that path during the season, but the children did not know. The bushes trembled, and a shout rang out, and the masquerade appeared. The children ran for their life, but it was too late. The masquerade cane came down hard, leaving injuries across Ginika's back and Adora's arm. They staggered back to their compound, bruised, dirty, and crying. When Nwakaego saw her daughter's wounds, the fire in her heart erupted. "Who did this to my child?" she shouted. "Who?" Ginika sobbed. "The masquerade. Nwakego's eyes narrowed. Masquerade? Spirits? Masquerade, you say? She smiled again. That same white dog smile. Say spirits dey flock pikin, make spirits chop food. The next day, the sun came out with a quiet fury, sharp, dry, blinding. But in Nwakego's compound, there was an unusual buzz of hospitality. She swept the compound herself, humming loudly. She even greeted passerby with a smile. Auntie Nwakaego, good morning, oh. Children greeted with half curiosity, half fear. Good morning, my children. Come and eat later, okay? Women in the village whispered. This one, she dey smile and cook like say e be Christmas. E get as e be oh. She dey plan something. Nwakaego was pounding oil bean seed and slicing fresh onions into a large bowl of abacha, cassava salad, spiced with enough pepper to wake up ancestors. Obina, sitting under the mango tree, watched her anxiously. He had seen that look before. Something was coming. Who is this abacha for? He asked. Nwakaego grinned without looking up. Our visitors. Which visitors? She didn't answer. Instead, she called out Ginika. Fetch that pot of hot water for me inside the kitchen. A large clay pot of hot water had been sitting on fire since morning. The water boiled like the surface of an angry river. Ginika peeked into the pot and frowned. It is hot like fire, Mama. Who is going to use this? Nwakaego only smiled. By mid-afternoon, the Masquerade boys arrived. 3 of them, young, strong, and cocky. Their face still bore the pride of terrifying children. Their leader, Ojukwu, had left his marks behind, but came like a deity all the same. You sent for us, he asked, arms folded. Yes, my sons, Nwakaego-san, come and eat. You did a very good job yesterday. They exchanged glances, chuckled, and sat down and crossed their leg under the tree. Special abacha for special spirits, Nwakaego said. Eat and be glad. They began to dig in. Obina came from the hut, eyes wide. What is this? Nwakaego raised her hand, silencing him. Just wash. She disappeared into the kitchen and returned seconds later with the clay of pots of boiling hot water, steaming, hissing from the lids. Before anyone could ask a question, she threw the water and flung the water directly at them. Screams tore through the air like broken drums. One of the boys rolled across the ground, clutching to his chest. Another stood up, shirt steaming. Ojukwu scrambled backwards, face already blistering. Ha! Nwakaego, you want to kill us? She stood tall, nostrils flared. You spirit! You can flog my daughter, Abi. Now receive spiritual hot water. Obina rushed forward, grabbing her arm. Are you mad? They are not real spirits. That's exactly my point, she screamed back. They say masquerades are spirits. So why did Ojukwu beat my daughter? Ojukwu was still crying in pain, my face hot. The village square was filled in the night. She stood before the elders again, arms folded and still arrogant. So you poured hot water on the Masquerade boys? Ofo Okeke asked, face darkened. Yes, she answered, and I will do worse if they touch my child again. But masquerades are sacred. You defied the tradition. They are sacred spirits, Abi. So how come one of them has tribal marks? Silence. Elders, she said, voice rising. The next time they come near my child with cane, I will serve them pepper soup with ogbono and acid. The crowd shouted. Obina dropped to his knees. My people, please forgive her. But no one moved. No one spoke. No one could. Nwakaego turned and walked out of them. From that day forward, everyone in Umudike feared her. She was no longer Nwakaego. She was the witch of the market road, the fire spirit woman, the one whose shadow mothers used to scare their children into silence. She didn't care. She had been untouchable, but deep inside her, something was shifting. A weight was building up. Something was coming, something old, something that wore her mother's face. The night after the masquerade incident and the clash with the village elders, Nwakaego fell into a restless sleep. The wind howled softly outside, rustling the dried pawpaw leaves by her window. Her charcoal pot flickered low. Ginika and Adora lay fast asleep, but Nwakaego turned and tossed on her bamboo mat, sweat forming on her brow despite the cool breeze. Suddenly, in the silence of the night, she found herself walking on a lonely bush path, barefoot, carrying a raffia basket. The world around her felt real, too real. She looked around. It was the market road, but different, dustless, dreamlike. Then a voice echoed from behind. Nwakaego Wam. She turned sharply. An old woman was sitting on a flat stone beneath an odala tree. Nwakaego frowned. Who are you? And why did you call me your daughter? The woman smiled faintly. You may not know me like this, but your soul remembers. Come closer. Nwakaego hesitated, looking around. Is this a trick? If it's one of those useless village gossipers playing old woman to frighten me, I will use cane on somebody's mother today. The woman chuckled lightly. The sound soft, like wind brushing calabashes. I have something to show to you, she said, lifting a small calabash covered in red clothes. Just look. Everything will become clear. Something within Nwakaego stirred. Her heart beat in rhythms. She couldn't explain. With hesitant step, she moved closer, her feet sinking into invisible soil. The woman gently removed the clothes. Nwakaego bent over, and what she saw made her knees weak. Inside the calabash, there she was as a little girl, maybe 7 years old, happy, laughing, and braiding her mother's hair. Her mother smiled back with a soft eyes only a mother could carry. Nwakaego whispered, I remember this day. I was so happy. Then a shadow, a woman with thick lips and harsh eyes, Mami Ifeoma, her mother's neighbor, stormed into the vision. She thinks she is the only one with a good child, Mami Ifeoma is. Mine are useless, roaming like goats. She stormed into the forest in the vision, calabash in hand, meeting a short red-eyed witch doctor with matted hair. I want her daughter to become her curse, she said. Bring me something, the witch doctor replied. Hair, blood, a piece of soul. Nwakaego watched herself being lured by Mami Ifeoma to visit her house. She was given a strange sweet, and later that night, the change began. From that day on, young Nwakaego turned cruel, disobedient. She remembered beating her mother the first time. She had felt nothing and no remorse. Her mother had cried alone, praying, fasting until one evening, she lay down and whispered with her last breath, You will know no peace. You will suffer. You will be a terror, she said finally before she gave up the ghost. Then the vision shifted. It was in the land of the spirits, beautiful and terrible. Her mother appeared in white, watching Nwakaego's life unfold. The beatings, the terror, the fire, the madness. She wept. I cursed my own child out of pain, but I did not know what was done to her. She turned to the heavens. I must return. I must make it right. Back on the dream road, Nwakaego jerked away from the calabash. The woman was still sitting there, but now Nwakaego saw it was her mother's face. The same lips, the same scar near the left eye. Her knees gave away. Mama, she whispered. Is it you? The woman rose gently, touching her shoulder. I came to free you, Nwakaego. You were not born wicked. You were poisoned. Tears poured freely from Nwakaego's eyes. I didn't know, Mama. All the beatings, the fightings, I thought it was me. I thought I hated you. Her mother smiled. I have lifted the curse, my daughter. Wake up and choose peace. A warm breeze swept across her face. Everything dissolved. Nwakaego woke up with a scream. She was on her mat. The lantern had burnt out. Roosters were crowing in the distance. Ginika stared beside her. Mama Nwakaego, are you okay? But Nwakaego was breathing heavily, hands on her chest. She sat up slowly. She felt lighter. Her heart didn't feel like a battleground anymore. Something heavy has truly left her. She looked around the room, then at her sleeping daughter, then at Marashi's hut. For the first time in years, Nwakaego felt the urge to kneel and pray, and to cry and apologize. And somewhere in the spirit world, her mother smiled, knowing her daughter has finally woken up. As Nwakaego sat silently on her bamboo stool, her wrapper lucidly tied around her chest, arms resting on her thighs. She had not moved much since morning. She just sat there thinking. Obina watched her from across the yard, confused. He whispered to Marashi, who was sweeping the compound. She does not shout since morning. She hasn't even insulted anybody. Marashi frowned slightly. Maybe she's planning something. She paused, or maybe something has happened inside her heart. Nwakaego was drowning in memories. You were poisoned. You were not born wicked. I have lifted the curse. The dream was still fresh in her memory. Every word, every image, carved deeply into her spirit. And now, the woman who had once stormed into every room like a thunderclap was quiet. Ginika came to her side. Mama, you know they go market today? Nwakaego turned and looked at her. For the first time in a long time, she saw not just her daughter, but a child, someone who needed love, guidance, and tenderness. She reached out and touched Ginika's hair gently. Ginika was surprised. This is strange. Mama had never touched her gently before. No market today, Nwakaego said softly. Stay home and help Marashi. Ginika stared at her for a moment, then ran off, confused but strangely pleased. That afternoon, Nwakaego walked out of the compound for the first time that day. She wasn't wearing her usual bold wrapper or heavy scarf. Her eyes were tired but open, humble and searching. She walked towards the village square where elders usually gather. Villagers noticed something different in Nwakaego. Why is she walking that way? She's walking like someone who has just been beaten from the spirits. Ofo Okeke, the elder who presided over the Masquerade case, was sipping palm wine under the Iroko tree when he saw Nwakaego coming towards them. She looked straight up at him and went on her knees. Please forgive me, Mazi Okeke. I have been foolish. I have wronged this village. The calabash of palm wine nearly fell from his hand. I poured hot water on Ojupo. I spoke rudely to the elders. I dishonored my co-wife. I cursed and fought everyone on my path. She took a deep breath. I don't ask for you to forgive me immediately, but if it's possible, I would like to start again. I would like to be a changed person. Even the breeze stood still. Mazi Okeke nodded slowly. Who are you and what have you done with Nwakaego? A few elders chuckled nervously, but he stood and with trembling hands he raised her up. If truly you have changed, he said, then let your actions speak. Back in her compound, Nwakaego turned to the hut Marashi lived in. She hesitated before she then walked in. Marashi was washing her baby's clothes. When she heard the door open, she turned and was surprised. You? What are you doing in my room? Nwakaego bent her head. I came to say thank you and also to apologize. The basin of water slipped from Marashi's hand. You are what? I know you don't believe me, Nwakaego said quietly, but I have changed. I saw things in a dream. I saw the truth. Marashi didn't speak. Ginika loves you. I was jealous, but you're a good woman. Better than me. I want to make peace. Amarashi was shocked by her moves, and she said, "If this is a trick, please stop it." "It is not." After a long pause, Amarashi picked up the basin and smiled faintly. "Then let's see how long this peace lasts." The terror of Umudike had become its mystery. Wiggo no longer screamed in the market. She paid full price to the traders. She fetched water for old women. She even helped Amarashi bathe the baby. People watched her like one watches a former lion now eating grass. Obina was the most shocked. One night, he found her in the kitchen preparing his favorite soup. "I hope I'm not dying soon," he whispered to himself. She smiled at him. "I'm learning how to be a good wife. Forgive me, Obina." He dropped his bowel. But not everyone was happy about the change. Some people preferred Nwakego's drama. The piece made things boring. Mami Former, now old, heard about her transformation and muttered, "Even the curses fade." Eh? She too had dreams at night, dark ones. The spirits were angry, and deep in the forest, the witch doctor, who casted the original spell, felt a cold wind blow through his shrine. "The balance has shifted," he muttered. "Something old has to be undone." In the morning, after Nwakaego helped Amarachi sweep the compound, a strange bird perched on the compound's bamboo fence. It was black with fairy red eyes and a beak too long for its body. It let out a strange sound and didn't fly away even after Ginika tried to chase it. "It's not an ordinary bird," Amarachi said. "Birds that are not afraid of human beings have something hidden in them." Nwakaego stepped forward, carrying the baby she had offered to help bathe. She paused when she saw the bird. The baby began to cry immediately. Her eyes narrowed. A sudden chill danced over her arms. "Leave it," she said. "It's a sign." Meanwhile, deep into the forest, the old Dibia who had cast the curse on Nwakaego many years ago was having a bad night. His shrine, once filled with cowries, bones, and skulls of lizards and rats, now felt cold and dry. The juju pot that used to speak to the spirit of vengeance cracked overnight. The blood-stained brooms had gone missing. He picked his red chalk and drew circle on the floor, chanting, but there was no response from the spirit world. He called again, louder. Still the spirits were silent. He threw the chalk into the pot, and then it shattered completely. The Dibia was surprised. "Impossible! Someone has reversed the curse," he roared. Then, in a voice colder than Harmattan tree, he heard a whisper behind him. The mother had returned, back in Umudike. Hey lovelies, we have come to the end of this wonderful story. Please share with me in the comment section what your thoughts are of this story, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel at African Story Tales by Abby. Like, share this story with your family and friends, and turn on your notification button to stay tuned for my next most intriguing story you don't want to miss. Thank you.